Good evening, and welcome to this quiet moment we're sharing together. Wherever you are, whether you're lying in bed, curled beneath warm blankets, or simply settling down for a few peaceful breaths, I invite you now to let the day loosen its hold. Just inhale gently, in and out, slowly. Feel the weight of the world soften as your shoulders sink a little deeper and your mind begins to drift like a leaf floating on a slow, moonlit river. Tonight, I'll be your storyteller, your companion in this soft hour between waking and dreaming. And together, we will travel into an old tale from Japan, a tale wrapped in feathers, moonlight, and quiet devotion. It is the story of the crane wife, a legend whispered for centuries, told by firelight, beside the glow of lanterns, and under winter skies. But tonight, this story is just for you, for your rest, your comfort, your peaceful breathing. So before we begin, settle in, adjust the pillow beneath your head, let your hands rest loosely by your side, and feel the softness of the night gather around you like a shawl of drifting clouds. We're going to travel far back in time to a small village nestled between mountains and sea, a place where winter winds sweep over quiet fields and cranes, long and white, glide through the cold sky like living brushstrokes painted across dusk. The Crane Wife is a story of kindness, gratitude, and the delicate threads that connect people to nature. It is a gentle tale, melancholic at its edges, but filled with calm beauty and soft, moonlit wonder. Nothing frightening, nothing harsh, only the sound of wind through bamboo, the hush of falling snow, and the quiet flutter of wings in the winter night. As you listen, let the images unfold slowly, like sakura petals opening beneath morning light. Allow each detail to settle within your imagination. The scent of pine trees, the glow of lanterns on wooden houses, the distant cry of cranes returning home at dusk. If you wish, you can close your eyes now. There is nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to think about. Just this gentle moment, this soft journey, this quiet breath, in and out. In a moment, we'll step into the world where this legend was born, a world shaped by snowy winters, humble hearth fires, and a deep reverence for the spirits of the natural world. A world where a single act of compassion could change the course of a life, and where a crane, a creature of grace and mystery, might take on a form not entirely of this realm. But for now, continue breathing slowly. Feel your body settling deeper, your thoughts drifting lighter, like pale feathers carried on a gentle breeze. Tonight, the story will move with your breath, unhurried, peaceful, soft. Every sound, every image will guide you deeper into rest. The Crane Wife is perfect for drifting off, because it is woven from silence and snow, from tender gratitude, and from the quiet ache of fleeting beauty. It lingers like a dream, soft at the edges, warm at its heart, and filled with a timeless whisper that love and kindness matter, even in the coldest winter. So, when you are ready, let me guide you gently into the serene world of old Japan, a world lit by the moon, wrapped in mist, and watched over by the graceful wings of cranes. We will begin with the land itself, the mountains, the rivers, the drifting snows, because to understand this legend, we must feel the world it came from, the hush of forests at night, the glow of winter stars over quiet villages. In the next part, I'll take you there, slowly, softly, step by gentle step. But for now, take one more breath in and out, and let calm settle inside you like freshly fallen snow resting on an untouched field. When you're ready, we will continue with the history, the culture, and the land that cradle the story of the crane wife. To understand the soft, snow-lit world where the crane wife was born, we must drift gently into the landscapes and the quiet rhythms of ancient Japan, a land shaped by mountains, water, mist, and the deep breath of the seasons. Imagine, if you will, a long stretch of coastline where the sea fades into pale winter sky, and fishing boats rest like sleeping guardians on the cold waves. Behind the shore rise mountains cloaked in forests of cedar and pine, their peaks dusted with snow, their slopes crossed by narrow paths that only villagers, monks, and wandering travelers ever walked. Far below these slopes, villages lay scattered like tiny lanterns glimmering against the vastness of nature. These were not loud places. They were quiet, humble, woven from simple lives, wooden houses with thatched roofs, small hearth fires, and the soft crackle of rice straw burning in the cold months. It was in such villages that stories like the crane wife were born, told slowly, gently, as the world outside grew still beneath the weight of winter. Cranes, or suru, held a very special place in the hearts of the people. They were symbols of longevity, purity, and spiritual grace. Creatures believed to live 1,000 years, to carry souls between worlds, and to watch over human lives with quiet, distant wisdom. In art, cranes appeared in sweeping brushstrokes, white wings framed against mountains, or gliding over reeds in elegant, fluid lines. Their forms were carved into lacquerware, painted on screens, and stitched into kimonos, always with care, always with reverence. For in the folklore of old, a crane was never just a bird. It was a messenger, a protector, a being touched by the divine. And so, when a crane entered a story, listeners in those days would lean a little closer, breathe a little quieter, for they knew that something sacred was about to unfold. Now imagine winter, the season most tied to the legend you are about to hear. Snow falls softly over the village roofs, each flake drifting slowly, quietly, as though trying not to disturb the stillness. Smoke rises from chimneys in thin, wavering lines, carried away by a cold, silver wind. The air smells of pine, charcoal, and distant seawater. Somewhere in the white distance, you might hear the call of a crane, a clear, high note ringing across frozen fields, lonely, beautiful, and ancient. Villagers would gather inside their homes, sitting close to the hearth, sharing bowls of warm soup, and telling stories to pass the long, silent nights. They spoke of mountain spirits, of foxes that could shapeshift, of wandering monks who disappeared into forests of snow. And among these tales, one was told with special tenderness, the tale of the crane who became a woman, the woman who became a wife, the wife who wove cloth of impossible beauty and vanished like a breath of wind. This story traveled through generations, across villages, across seasons, sometimes told beside rivers where reeds whispered in the breeze, sometimes shared in tea houses as travelers rested from long journeys, sometimes whispered to children as they fell asleep beneath heavy quilts during the coldest nights of the year. Over time, the details shifted gently, as stories often do. Names changed, villages changed, But the heart of the story remained, like a steady flame, burning softly through the centuries. At its core, The Crane Wife is a tale about kindness given freely and beauty created from gratitude. It reflects an old belief that the spirits of the natural world watch humans closely and repay compassion with gifts beyond imagination. Japan's ancient worldview, known as animism, saw life in all things, in stones, trees, mountains, streams, and especially in animals whose grace felt otherworldly. So the idea of a crane spirit taking human form was not strange. It was simply another thread in the great woven fabric of nature and belief. Listen closely, and perhaps you can feel how deeply winter, nature, and spirit intertwine in this story. Imagine standing on a snowy plain at dusk, your breath rising in gentle clouds, the world tinted in silver and blue. And then, in that quiet stillness, a single crane steps through the falling snow, its wings pure white, its movements measured and soft, like a dream taking shape before your eyes. This is the world from which the crane wife emerges, a world that moves slowly, with grace, with silence, with the delicate beauty of a snowflake settling on a sleeve of dark fabric. And now, with this gentle, snowy landscape in your mind, you are ready to enter the legend itself. The story will unfold not in haste, but in soft breaths and drifting images, just like the tales told long ago in lantern-lit homes deep in the winter night. When you are ready, we will walk together into the beginning of The Crane Wife, where a simple man, a lonely winter, and a wounded crane set in motion a quiet miracle. Let us begin, very gently, with a man living alone in a quiet village far from the bustling cities of old Japan. His name, spoken softly through the generations, is sometimes Kiyoshi, sometimes Yohei, sometimes simply the young man. For in folklore, names shift like snowdrifts in the wind, but the heart of the story remains the same. Tonight, we will call him Yohei, a humble, kind-hearted man living in a small wooden house on the edge of a winter forest. Yohei's life was simple. He woke with the pale morning light, gathered firewood, tended a small patch of land, and worked small tasks for the villagers, repairing a fence, carrying bundles of straw, fetching water from the river. He was known not for wealth nor strength, but for gentleness, the kind of gentleness that made even the shy village children smile when they saw him. And though he lived alone, Yohei never grew bitter, even in the long winters, even in the deepest cold. He moved through each day with quiet acceptance and a heart open to the world around him. One winter evening, as the sun slipped behind the mountains and the sky turned the color of faded ink, Yohei walked home along a path dusted with snow. The air was cold, sharp enough to make every breath visible, curled white and fading slowly. The trees rose dark and silent beside the path, their branches heavy with untouched snow. And in that deep stillness, Yohei heard something, a soft sound, almost like a whimper, almost like the quiet cry of a creature in pain. He paused, listened, and heard it again. Not loud, not sharp, but trembling, fragile, drawn by instinct. He followed the sound through the trees until he reached a small clearing, bathed in pale moonlight. There, lying in the snow, was a crane, its feathers white as winter clouds, its long wings spread weakly across the ground, and wrapped around its slender leg was a cruel twist of hunting rope, the kind used by trappers who placed snares in the forest during the cold months. The crane struggled, but the more it pulled, the tighter the rope bit into its delicate leg. Yohei felt his breath catch, not from fear, but from sorrow. For in this land, to harm a crane was to harm a spirit, a sacred being, a creature believed to bring blessings to those who protected it. Moving slowly, carefully, Yohei knelt beside the crane. "It's all right," he whispered, his voice barely louder than the drifting snow. "I will help you." The crane's dark eyes watched him, filled not with wild panic, but with something quiet, ancient, almost trusting. Yohei took a small knife from his sash, and with gentle hands cut through the rope. The crane flinched, but did not strike, did not run. As the rope fell away, a faint tremor passed through its wings, as though relief itself had taken a breath. Yohei brushed snow from its feathers, then, stepping back a little, he whispered, "You're free now." For a long moment, nothing happened. The clearing felt suspended in time, the moonlight still, the cold air unmoving. And then, with a slow, graceful motion, the crane gathered its wings, stood, and lifted itself into the sky. Snow swirled beneath it, tiny white crystals caught in the moonlight. As the crane rose higher and higher, Yohei watched until the great white wings faded into the dark sky, leaving only silence and the faint imprint of feathers on snow. He felt a quiet warmth in his chest, a feeling gentle and pure, the feeling that comes when kindness has been given freely, without expectation. And with that warmth guiding his steps, he walked home, the snow crunching softly beneath his straw sandals, each step slow, peaceful, calm. The night grew deeper, colder, as Yohei reached his small house. He lit a lantern, its glow spreading warmly across the wooden walls. He made a simple meal, a bowl of rice, a sip of warm tea, and wrapped himself in a thick quilt to rest from the cold. Outside, the wind brushed against the walls, soft as a distant sigh, carrying with it the faint cry of cranes flying somewhere in the darkness. Yohei closed his eyes, thinking of the creature he had helped, wondering where it flew, whether it was safe, whether it would remember the gentle moment shared in the snowy clearing. But he did not expect anything in return. Kindness was its own reward. He knew this, and slept peacefully, with that warmth still glowing in his quiet heart. What he did not know, what he could not have imagined, was that the crane he saved was no ordinary being, and that on this winter night, as snow drifted softly over a roof of his home, his life was already beginning to change. For miracles in old stories do not arrive with thunder or fierce winds or blinding light. They arrive gently, softly, on quiet wings in the middle of the night. And soon, a soft knock would echo at Yohei's door, changing everything he had ever known. That night, long after Yohei had fallen asleep, the snow continued to fall, soft flakes drifting down from a silent sky, covering the village in a smooth, white blanket. The world felt hushed, as though wrapped in the soft breath of winter itself. And then, Just as the lantern in Yohei's home flickered its last ember, there came a sound, a gentle, hesitant knock at the door, not loud, not urgent, just a delicate tapping, as though someone barely touching the wood was unsure whether to disturb the quiet. Yohei stirred beneath his quilt, his eyes opening slowly, confused at first, unsure whether he had dreamed the sound. But the knock came again, soft, timid, almost apologetic. He rose, pulled on his winter robe, and walked across the wooden floor, each step echoing faintly in the silence of the night. When he slid open the door, a gentle gust of snow-cooled air brushed against his face, carrying with it the clean scent of winter. And standing there, just beyond the threshold, was a young woman, her hair dark as night, her skin pale as fresh snow, and her kimono woven in simple patterns of soft white and muted silver, patterns that seemed to shimmer like feathers caught in moonlight. She bowed deeply, her voice barely more than a whisper. "Forgive me for coming so late. I have traveled far, and I am cold. May I rest in your home just for this night?" Yohei blinked, surprised, for it was rare that anyone traveled on such a night. Rarer still that a woman wandered alone through the winter forest. But there was something gentle, fragile, and strangely familiar about her presence. And Yohei, being who he was, felt compassion rise in his heart. "Of course," he said softly, stepping aside. "Please come in. You must be freezing." The woman entered slowly, as though she feared to bring even a single flake of snow into the house. Yohei offered her a seat close to the hearth, lit a small fire, and warmed water for tea. For a while, they said nothing, simply listening to the quiet crackle of the fire and the soft whisper of snow brushing against the paper doors. When she finally spoke, her voice was warm, but tinged with something sorrowful, something hidden beneath the surface. "You are very kind. Most would have turned me away. On such a cold night?" Yohei shook his head. "I could never do that. Everyone deserves warmth and safety." The woman lowered her gaze, as though deeply moved. Time passed gently, the room growing warmer, the storm outside fading into a soft hush. Eventually, Yohei realized that the woman seemed without family, without companions, and without a place to go. And though he was shy, he asked, "If you have nowhere to stay, you may remain here as long as you wish. My home is small, but I am glad to share it." The woman looked at him, her dark eyes shining softly. "You offer this without knowing who I am?" Yohei nodded. "You are someone in need. That is enough." A long silence followed, a silence tender and full, like snow falling in a quiet forest. Then she whispered, her voice trembling slightly, "Thank you. If you allow it, I would like to stay and care for this home and for you, as long as you will have me." Yohei felt a warmth bloom in his chest, unexpected, but gentle. "Then stay," he said. "You are welcome here." Her smile, soft and fleeting, was like moonlight glimmering across snow. Days passed and then weeks, and the woman remained, turning Yohei's quiet home into a place filled with gentle warmth. She cooked, with delicate hands, prepared miso broth and warm rice, and simmered vegetables on cold mornings. She swept the floors, tended the fire, and mended Yohei's clothes with threads so fine it was almost invisible. And in every gesture, in every quiet movement, there was grace. like the sweep of wings. Soon, the villagers took notice. They saw her walking through the snow beside Yohei, her steps light, her expression serene. They whispered, admiring her beauty, her gentleness, her mysterious arrival. Some called her Yuki, others Setsu. Some believed she was a spirit blessed by the winter gods. But Yohei, in his quiet heart, simply called her his wife. And the two of them lived together in peaceful harmony. Their days slow, their nights warm, their small home filled with soft laughter and tender moments. Yet, as winter deepened, a shadow of worry crossed Yohei's thoughts, for they were poor. Their food stores were small, and the cold months still stretched far ahead. One evening, seeing the fear hidden behind Yohei's gentle eyes, the woman reached out and touched his hand. "Do not worry," she said softly. "There is something I can do to help us." She stood, walked to a wooden chest, and lifted the lid. From it, she took a loom, simple, yet sturdy. "I can weave," she whispered, "if you will allow me to work, and if you will promise me something important." Yohei looked at her. "Anything. When I weave, you must not watch me. No matter what you hear, no matter what moves your heart, promise me you will never look." Yohei felt confusion, but he loved her and trusted her. And so he agreed. "I promise." She bowed her head, relieved, and that night she began to weave. Behind the closed door of a small room, Yohei heard the faint rhythm of the loom, soft, steady, like gentle wings brushing the air. And by morning, she emerged, pale with exhaustion, but holding a bolt of cloth so beautiful, so impossibly fine, that it shimmered like snow caught in the first light of dawn. The villagers gasped at its beauty. Traders paid great sums for it, and Yohei and his wife finally had enough to endure the winter. But the weaving had only just begun, and with it, the quiet miracle that would change everything. The cloth that Yohei's wife wove was unlike anything the village had ever seen. It shimmered softly, like moonlight resting on the surface of a frozen lake. Each thread delicate as frost, each pattern flowing like feathers caught in a gentle breeze. The villagers marveled. Traders offered more and more silver, and soon Yohei and his wife found themselves no longer struggling, but living comfortably. Still, the woman wove again, quietly, behind the closed door, with Yohei listening from the other side, the rhythm of the loom soft and steady. But each time she emerged, she looked more tired, her face pale, her steps trembling. "Are you all right?" Yohei would ask, offering warm tea, offering rest. "I am fine," she would whisper with a fragile smile. "I only need time." And though worry pressed softly on Yohei's heart, he remembered his promise, the promise never to watch her weave. He kept it faithfully, out of love, out of respect, out of trust. But the villagers, curious by nature, began to whisper. "It is strange," they murmured. "How can she weave such cloth from such simple threads? Who is she really? She came from a forest on the coldest night. Maybe she is not an ordinary woman." Yohei heard these whispers, and each one tightened a knot of worry inside his chest. Still, when he looked at her, he saw only kindness, gentleness, and the quiet glow of someone who loved him deeply. One night, As snow drifted softly against the paper doors, his wife approached him, her hands trembling slightly. "I will weave one more cloth," she said. "This one, the most beautiful of all." Yohei's breath caught, for he could see the strain in her eyes. The way she struggled to stand tall. "You do not have to," he whispered. "We have enough. We have more than enough." But she shook her head. "This last one will be my gift to you, to our life together." And with a bowed head, she returned to the weaving room, closing the door softly behind her. The loom began its rhythm, soft, steady. But Yohei noticed something different. The sound was slower, heavier, as though each movement cost her a part of herself. Hours passed, then a day, and another. She did not emerge. Only the faint whisper of the loom told him she was still there, still weaving, pouring her strength into each delicate thread. Yohei paced the house, worry growing like winter's shadows. He pressed his hand against the door. "Please, rest," he whispered. "You don't need to do this." But her voice, soft and distant, replied, "I am all right, please. Trust me." And so he stayed outside, waiting, hoping, listening to the slow rhythm that guided his heart through the long, sleepless hours. At last, after 2 full days, the sound stopped completely. Silence, deep and heavy, filled the house, and Yohei's heart tightened, for the silence felt too still, too fragile. Minutes passed, longer than they should have. He called out her name, softly at first, then again, a little louder. No reply. Fear crept in, cold and sharp, like the winter wind. He stepped closer, pressed his ear to the door. Still nothing. And his promise, the promise he had honored so faithfully, felt suddenly too heavy to bear. "Forgive me," he whispered. "I cannot lose you." With shaking hands, he slid open the door. The room was dim, lit only by the pale glow of the snowy world outside. The loom stood silent, threads glimmering like frost on spider silk. And beside it, on the floor, was his wife, collapsed, pale, fragile as a fallen feather. But as Yohei rushed to her, his breath caught, for in that moment, he did not see the woman he knew. He saw the crane, the same crane he had freed in the forest. White feathers scattered around her faint form, a wounded leg wrapped in cloth. She lifted her head slowly, her dark eyes filled with sadness, and something deeper, something ancient. Her voice, when it came, was a whisper soft as snow. "Yohei, you saved me that winter night. I wished to repay your kindness, and so I took this form to stay by your side." Tears rose in Yohei's eyes, soft and warm, falling onto his trembling hands. "I did not know," he whispered. "I did not understand." The crane, his wife, shook her head gently. "You were kind. You gave me warmth. You gave me a home. But the cloth I wove was made from my own feathers. Each thread took a part of me. And now you have seen me in my true form." Her wings shifted weakly, feathers drifting like falling petals. "I must go," she breathed. "My time here is over." Yohei reached for her, his heart breaking softly. "Please, don't leave." But she touched his hand, with the tip of her wing, a touch light as wind. "I will always be grateful for the man who saved me, for the man who loved me. And when you see cranes flying across the winter sky, know that I am there, watching over you, slowly, Gently, her form began to change. Feathers gathered, light shimmered softly, and the crane rose to her full height, weak but graceful. She stepped toward the open door, snow swirling around her, the world outside glowing pale and silver. Yohei followed, unable to speak, his breath shaking. On the threshold, she spread her wings, white against the moonlit sky. She turned once more, her eyes soft with love, with farewell, and then, with a single sweep of her great wings, she lifted into the air. Snow spiraled beneath her as she rose higher and higher, the wind carrying her into the endless winter night. Yohei watched until she became only a shimmer, a distant shape among the falling snow, and the house behind him felt quiet and empty, yet filled with a memory so gentle, so profound, it warmed him even in the deepest cold. The cloth she had woven, her final gift, remained on the loom, shining softly like a fragment of the moon. Yohei kept it always, a reminder of love, kindness, and the delicate bond between human hearts and the spirits that share the world with them. And each winter, when cranes flew over the snowy fields, their cries echoing soft and clear, Yohei would look up, smile through quiet tears, and whisper, "Thank you, my wife." The legend of the crane wife, after traveling with us through snow, moonlight, and gentle sorrow, now settles softly into its quiet meaning. Like all old stories, it carries more than simple events. It carries a whisper, a lesson woven into the very fabric of winter air. At its heart, this tale is about kindness, the kind of kindness given freely, without expectation, without wanting anything in return. Yohei saved the crane, not for reward, not for glory, but because a heart as gentle as his could not ignore a creature in pain. And in return, life, the universe, the spirit of the crane itself, brought him warmth, love, and companionship. The story reminds us, quietly, softly, that compassion is never lost, never wasted, never forgotten, even when the world feels cold and still and empty. These small acts echo outward, touching lives, rippling like snowflakes falling on a still lake. Another thread woven through this tale is the delicate boundary between the human world and the world of nature, or the spirit realm. In ancient Japan, the line between the two was never harsh, never rigid. The forests, the mountains, the rivers were alive, filled with presence, with quiet awareness. A crane could be a bird, or a divine messenger, or a spirit in disguise. And to show kindness to nature was to show kindness to the unseen, the sacred, the mysterious forces that shape the world. Yohei's wife, the crane spirit, shows how deeply intertwined humans and nature truly are, how we depend on one another, how our lives are threads in the same great cloth. There is also a gentle sadness woven into the legend, a reminder that love, no matter how deep, does not always remain in the form we wish. But this sadness is not harsh, not cruel. It is soft, like winter melancholy, a reminder of life's impermanence and its fleeting beauty. The crane must leave because she cannot live in the human world forever. Her gift is given, her debt repaid, her love expressed in the only way she can. And Yohei, standing in the snow watching her fly away, teaches us a tender truth, that to love is sometimes to let go and to honor the memory of what was given, with gratitude, not with despair. There is symbolism, too, in the weaving. Threads drawn from her body, her feathers, her life essence. The cloth she creates is not simply beautiful. It is a part of her, as love often is. In giving the cloth, she gives herself, her devotion, her spirit. And in the final cloth, the one woven with the last of her strength, she leaves behind a treasure that carries memory, emotion, sacrifice, and tenderness. Even after she is gone, the cloth remains, a quiet reminder that true love leaves traces in this world, soft but everlasting. Across Japan, the tale of the crane wife still echoes today. It lives in paintings, in traditional dances, in winter festivals where dancers wear flowing white sleeves like cranes' wings. Children hear it in school. Artists recreate it on scrolls, in plays, or in delicate paper crafts called origami tsuru, paper cranes folded with wishes for peace, health, and long life. In some regions, villagers say that cranes flying overhead during winter bring blessings and remind people to be gentle with all living things. And many couples visiting shrines still pray beneath carved images of cranes for a love that is kind, soft, and loyal. Even travelers walking through snowy fields sometimes pause when they see a crane standing still among reeds. They bow their heads and whisper a greeting. For in that white figure, they see not just a bird, but the memory of a story that has drifted through centuries on quiet wings. It is this gentle continuity, this soft persistence, that makes the crane wife a perfect bedtime tale. It does not ask us to fear, nor to chase excitement, nor to seek grand adventure. It invites us to breathe, to reflect, to feel deeply, and to remember that even in cold seasons, there is warmth and tenderness, and small acts of love that carry great meaning. Tonight, as you rest, you carry this story too, like a small, warm lantern inside your heart. And whenever you hear the cry of a crane, or see snow falling gently, or notice a moment of quiet kindness, you may feel a soft echo, a reminder of Yohei, his gentle wife, and the delicate miracle woven between them. And now, as our journey through snow, moonlight, and quiet devotion slowly comes to rest, I invite you to let the story settle gently into a stillness of your heart. Just breathe softly, in and out, and feel the calm that this old legend carries, like a soft feather floating down onto your thoughts. The winter world of this tale, with its white fields, its silent forests, its lonely sky, is fading now, dissolving slowly, like mist under morning sun. Yohei's humble home, the warm hearth, the gentle presence of the crane wife, all drift quietly into memory, into dream, into a place inside you that stays peaceful and warm. The crane's wings, wide and white, glide across your imagination, their movement slow, graceful, carrying the last echoes of the story into the silent air. And you, lying here now, resting, breathing softly, may feel a similar peace settling over you, as though you too were wrapped in a blanket of falling snow. This moment, this gentle stillness, belongs entirely to you. Let your shoulders relax. Let your breath deepen. Let your thoughts float like small feathers, light, drifting, free. Old stories like this one were told in quiet rooms, on winter nights, to children drifting into sleep, to travelers resting after long journeys, and to families gathered beside the hearth listening to the wind sing softly outside. Tonight, you share that same peace, that same tradition, that same slow fading toward dreams. If you listen closely, you might feel the soft echo of winter winds, the faint cry of a crane high in the night sky, the warmth of lantern lights spilling across wooden floors, the gentle sense of being safe and held by the moment. Let it all wash over you like a calm tide, slow, steady, soothing. You are safe here. You are warm. You are resting. And the night is watching over you with quiet tenderness. As your breath continues, slow and natural, your mind may begin to drift further inward, into softness, into light dreams, into calm. If sleep comes now, let it come, like a feather landing, like a crane gliding, like snow settling gently on a silent field. And if your eyes remain open a little longer, that is all right too. You can rest here, in the quiet, in the softness, in the gentle spaces between thoughts. Before we part tonight, I want to thank you for traveling with me through this winter tale, for breathing with me, for letting each image, each whisper, each pause carry you deeper into peace. Old stories live because they are shared, because they are held in quiet hearts like yours, listening in the stillness, finding meaning in soft footsteps across snow. And now, as we close the final page, I wish you the sweetest rest, the gentlest dreams, and a night filled with soft, calming silence. Let your eyes grow heavy, let your breath grow warm, let your mind drift, slowly, softly, peacefully. Good night, dear friend. Sleep deeply, sleep warmly, sleep in quiet peace. And when you wake, may you feel light, renewed, and touched by the soft wings of this timeless winter story. Until next time, when another gentle tale awaits you. Good night, and thank you for listening